right, we left New Jersey today and took the Cape May to Lewes, Delaware ferry. That was an hour and a half ferry ride.
Kind of rocky.
Oh man, roughest ferry ride I've been on. I've been all the way to Alaska on a ferry. Been through British Columbia and a few places, but this was a rough one. But short ride anyway. And so we are now moved through Delaware and into Maryland.
Yeah, we're at Assateague National Seashore. And there are wild horses that run through the campsites.
Anyway, we're in Maryland. We're going to be in Virginia tomorrow, and then end the day in North Carolina, but don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Anyway, we're just going to enjoy the sunset here at Assateague. We're on the bay side in one of the campgrounds, and yeah, it looks to be a nice little spot. After our night at Assateague National Seashore, we headed south again, soon crossing the Chesapeake Bay on the 17.6-mile Bay Bridge Tunnel. Crossing a 17-mile bridge is pretty impressive. When you consider this crossing also includes multiple underground tunnels, well, that's pretty amazing. After most of the day driving south, we arrived at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where on December 17th, 1903, the Wright Brothers flew into history as the first in flight. They flew 4 times on this day, and each stone monument marks their ever-increasing flight distances. To be here on this historic site was both impressive and awe-inspiring. If you get the chance to visit, I highly recommend it. At the Oregon Inlet Beach, North Carolina. It's been super windy here, so not much footage. Sorry for the wind noise. Oh wow.
Well, I have to say the wind has been just atrocious out here on the coast.
Yeah, so we stayed the night at Oregon Inlet, North Carolina. It's a national seashore. It's not called Oregon Inlet National Seashore. It's another
Cape Hatteras or something of that nature.
But anyway, the wind was blowing when we arrived, and it never stopped all night. And this is going to be the footage from Oregon Inlet. We're moving south again today for a couple nights in the, I think it's pronounced Croatan National Forest, which I'd never heard of before. So little national forest just to the south in North Carolina. We'll see you there. Fort Macon State Park turned out to be a great place to visit on a stormy North Carolina day. Fort Macon is managed by the North Carolina Division of Parks and Recreation and is a fully restored pre-Civil War fort that once protected the Beaufort Inlet. The fort was built in 1826 And most notably in its history, it was seized early in the days of the Civil War by the Confederacy and later recaptured by the Union in 1862. Other than a brief reactivation for World War II, Fort Macon has been a North Carolina state park since way back in 1924. It was fully restored by the Civilian Conservation Corps in 1934-35. The outer walls of the fort were protected by cannon mounts, as well as the inner wall of cannons on top of the fort. Moving inside the fort, you can fully tour the parade grounds on the interior of the fort, as well as the 26 casements or rooms that make up the fort's walls. Some of those restored rooms include troops' quarters, which housed up to 40 troops each, a bakery, a commissary, a kitchen, a dining room, and the commandant's quarters. Each of these rooms give you a sense of what it was like to live at Fort Macon during the Civil War, as well as other times through the fort's history.
And it's I think our last night in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we've had, I have to say, more than 24 hours of complete downpour, buckets of rain. So I'm looking forward to a sunny day.
Yeah, we've got sun in the forecast starting tomorrow, but I think the rain is mostly past. After, almost 2 days of rain, and listen to that rain on the roof all night long for 2 nights. We've had enough rain, and we're going to be leaving North Carolina behind and all its puddles and flooded waters.
And ticks. I hope this is the last state we have ticks.
I'll keep dreaming on that.
All right.
Anyway, it has been a pretty good stay. We got to see the fort yesterday and got caught up on some logistics, laundry, and that sort of stuff. And we're looking forward to moving on. Probably our last day close to the coast, maybe today, and then making that western turn up towards the mountains. We'll see.
Hopefully tonight is in South Carolina somewhere.
All right. There's another national forest with our name on it. We'll see you there. After following the Atlantic coast since New Jersey, we turned west in South Carolina, following the South Carolina Adventure Route. The South Carolina Adventure Route is a 1,000-mile route that takes you off the beaten track through farms and forests of rural South Carolina. Although the East Coast has its share of people and development, routes like the South Carolina Adventure Route allow you to get away from it all, into the backwoods, see some sights you wouldn't normally see on the freeway. And maybe relive a few days from childhood.
They never saw any trouble with the law since the day they was born.
After our tour of a few miles of the South Carolina Adventure Route, we found a nice campground called Mill Creek County Park. All right, we are at the Congaree National Park, and the park we just found on the map, never heard of before, and most of it is flooded, which apparently is common, but the boardwalk trail's open, so we're gonna take a look at that. Okay, end of the boardwalk for today. Luckily it branches, so we're going to go the other direction, but guess all that rain from last weekend is added up. That is a bench out there, if you can't tell, but other than that, we've just got flood waters. Our stop at Congaree National Park proved to be a nice, unplanned surprise, taking us on a tour of the largest remaining old-growth bottomland forest in the United States. It was our last stop before we headed up into the mountains to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, where we will pick up our East Coast adventure in episode 3. Don't forget to subscribe so we can see you again on the trail.